Welcome back to Chamber Exchange, the TV show. We would once again like to thank our sponsors, Bank Hometown and St. Vincent Hospital. And today we have, for our third segment, two very special guests from the American Heart Association. February, as you know, as most of you know, is Heart Month. And so we have these two representatives to spread awareness about heart health. We all need to take care of ourselves. So we have Sabrina Webb, the Development Director of Central Mass for the American Heart Association, and Addie Greenwald. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Caitlin, for inviting us on here.
So Sabrina, let's start. Everyone hopefully knows about the American Heart Association. Let's talk about Go Red for Women. What is that initiative? When did it start?
Sure, absolutely. So Go Red for Women is the American Heart Association's signature women's initiative that brings awareness to the fact that cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women. So it began in 2004, so this will be our 22nd year, and we are dedicated to closing the gaps in research, in awareness, in care, education surrounding this critical disease that really impacts women.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, women work in a very fast-paced lifestyle. I'm sure you both can attest to that. Mm-hmm. The calendars, the commitments, the schedules, the family, career, it just doesn't stop. It doesn't slow down. So it's really important that we take time to take a pause as women, but also as our community to learn about what our risk factors are and how we can go about preventing them.
Mm-hmm. And why does this matter right now?
Yeah, so historically, women have been underrepresented in research. They've been undertreated and underdiagnosed. And so the awareness is really critical. We know that 45% of women will experience a cardiovascular, some form of cardiovascular disease. And also regarding stroke is the #3 killer of women. Mm-hmm. So that means that 1 in 5 women will have a stroke. And only 44% of women actually know of these risks. They tend to focus on other things. And so it's really critical that we get the awareness out there. Central Massachusetts has this incredible culture of women supporting women and men supporting women. Mm-hmm. And so it's just, I think that, we're working hard to change this narrative. Things are getting better, but there's still work to do.
Mm-hmm. And, healthcare in Worcester, it's, one of the largest employers.
Yes.
And we are fortunate to have 2 major hospitals here in Worcester, St. Vincent Hospital, who's one of our sponsors, and
mm-hmm.
UMass Memorial. And that kind of leads me into introducing Addie. Addie has an amazing, incredible story, and I'm so happy that you could be here today. Because, tell your story, please.
Yeah, I think kind of going off of what Sabrina mentioned about that 44% of women, I didn't know anything could really happen to me regarding my cardiovascular health or cardiovascular disease. I grew up with a history of heart issues. I was born with 3 holes in my heart, and I had a heart murmur at birth. My doctors told me that it wasn't really going to impact my life. It wasn't going to lead to any problems, nothing like that. I'd lead a perfectly healthy life. That was at 13. And 5 years later, in my spring semester of my freshman year at college, I had a heart attack while getting ready to go to school that morning. And I did not know what was happening at all. I had those classic symptoms like chest tightness and nausea, dizziness, very disoriented, getting clammy and cold, and I just didn't even know what was going on, and I didn't even get help until it was almost too late, and I now have extra damage to my heart, and I still don't even know why my heart attack even happened in the first place. Mm-hmm. So it was just a crazy thing, and I spent a week at UMass Memorial here in Worcester. They took great care of me, and I went back to my daily life, had a few different procedures done to close some holes in my heart and a few other things just to kind of check on everything. but I really wanted to turn my story into something that brings awareness to the health of young women and just young people in general, because as a young adult, as like an 18-year-old or a 19-year-old, you think nothing bad is going to happen to me. I'm okay. But in reality, there are those chances where something could happen to you and you would never even think of it. So that's why I partnered up with Sabrina and I joined their Women of Impact campaign, because I really wanted to, as a now 19-year-old, but it's not even a year after I had my heart attack, I wanted to raise awareness for just cardiovascular health in general, because it's so important to really prioritize it.
And that's incredible, Addie, because, you know, some kids, I say kids, but, you know, you could have gone in the completely other direction and said, poor me, you know, I mean, less than a year, it's incredible. And I think it also goes to what you were saying, Sabrina, about women and women's health, is that all of the symptoms that Addie just mentioned could be chalked up to a panic attack or just, you know, being uncomfortable and you know, you're a freshman in college. I think probably if my daughter called me with those symptoms, I'd say, you're probably just stressed out. And so that's why it's so important to really listen to your body and say, something's not right. And so you finally got help after those symptoms. Like, what did you do? Did you call 911?
Yeah, at the time, I was home with my dad and my sister. My mom was working because she's a teacher. And I had kind of talked to my dad, told him my symptoms, and he was like half asleep. So he was kind of like, you're probably okay. I don't know. And then it just kept happening. The symptoms happened for like maybe an hour or more. And so I had kind of woken him up again. And I was like, hey, I definitely think something is kind of wrong. So we had called my primary care, and they heard the symptoms and were immediately like, you need to go to the ER now. And the thing was, like, my dad kind of had in the back of his mind, like, it could be a heart attack, but he didn't really want to come up to me and just be like, oh my gosh, you're probably having a heart attack. I'm going to stress you out even more. So we ended up going to the ER near my house, which was in Milford Regional, which is partnered with UMass. And at first, I wasn't necessarily told it could be a heart attack or anything. I was definitely asked a lot of questions about stress and like, are you stressed this week? Were you really stressed? Like, things like that. And I was kind of told, like, maybe it's SCAD because that happens in young women, or we don't want to say it's a heart attack right now. So I ended up spending almost like a whole day in the ER doing tests and everything and echoes, things like that. And then I ended up getting transported to UMass Memorial that night that I had originally had all those symptoms.
And that's when,
that's when I spent like the week there, and it took even more testing and almost like 4 days to even say it was really a heart attack.
And so now you two women and a bunch of other people are spreading awareness. We only have a couple minutes left.
Sure.
You have an event coming up. We want everyone to go to it.
Yes, we do.
Tell us about it.
It's very exciting. Although the Go Red for Women Luncheon and Go Red for Women campaign has been around for 22 years, this is the first one that we're having in Central Massachusetts. So it is coming up on March 12th. It will be at Polar Park from 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. It is a luncheon. There'll be education. There'll be fun activities where there'll be some impactful survivor stories. But in addition, we're putting together a fun, like, boutique wellness pop-up lounge. The Heart of the Commonwealth, Clara, will be gracing us with her presence.
Oh, I love a mascot.
Yes.
So if people want to get tickets, where do we go?
Yeah, so you can go to heart.org/centralma Go Red, or any of our socials at American Heart MA.